The past few months have been difficult for Rose Hanbury, the Marchioness of Cholmondeley. Earlier this year, the Duchess of Cambridge told Prince William to phase Rose, until then one of her closest friends, out of their social circle following what was described as a terrible falling out. Now it is feared the former model is suffering further heartache after being spotted without her wedding ring. The 35-year-old has been married to David Roxovich, the Marquess of Cholmondeley, since 2009. Rose was among those at last week's state banquet at Buckingham Palace, hosted by the Queen to mark Donald Trump's visit to Britain. The Marchioness' ringless left hand, circled left, was on show for all to see as she accompanied her husband to the event. Previously, she wore a wedding band, as pictured at a Serpentine Gallery summer party in 2015, left. This article shared dressed in a floor-length white gown with her hair tied into an updo, Rose looking somewhat glum as she arrived at the banquet and sat some distance away from Kate. It is the first time the two women have been seen at the same event since the row that rocked the North Norfolk set, affectionately known as the Turnip Toss. While Kate, William and their 3 children use Enmore Hall, near the Queen's Sandringham estate, as their country retreat, Rose and Old Etonian former filmmaker David live in splendor just 3.5 miles away at the 106-room Houghton Hall. Prince George has even been a playmate of the couple's sons, Alexander and Oliver. Rose, Kate and William were pictured together at a charity gala in 2016, and the couples were once so close they would regularly meet for dinner. At this week's state banquet, the Marquess of Cholmondeley, who as Lord Great Chamberlain is a regular fixture at state and ceremonial events, was seated on the table closest to the Duchess of Cambridge, next to the Duchess of Gloucester. Rose was seated on the other side of the room, close to the Duke of Cambridge, and next to GCHQ Chief Jeremy Fleming. The Marchioness, whose grandmother Lady Elizabeth Lambert was a bridesmaid to the Queen, married David in June 2009 after a very brief engagement. Aged 25, Rose announced her engagement to David, who was 23 years her senior, and just a day later they tied the knot. Society beauty Rose was once represented by the same modeling agency as Kate Moss, and even worked as a researcher for Conservative leadership candidate Michael Gove earlier in his career. Husband David is descended from Sir Robert Walpole, the first Prime Minister of Great Britain. He was a page of honour to the Queen aged 14 and began acting as the hereditary Lord Great Chamberlain to Her Majesty in 1990. The role grants him charge over the Palace of Westminster, and he attends formal state occasions. 4.5 months after their wedding, Rose gave birth to twin boys, Alexander and Oliver, and their third child Iris was born in 2016. Both Rose and the Duchess of Cambridge are patrons of the East Anglia's Children's Hospices.